This is outside. I don't know if you can really tell, but the wind is insane. Hello everyone! Welcome to Cirque du So Fit, and today we're talking about what I eat every day. Welcome to my snow day fort. For those of you who don't know, here in Boston we are getting, I think, 10 to 12 inches of snow right now. It's a lot. So I put down my futon, I have a nice little blanket fort going, I have some coffee. And today seemed like a great day to sit down and talk to you about what I eat every day. Because there's some people out there who find it more helpful to hear what others eat day to day versus being given guidelines like eat this many carbs, eat this many proteins, etc., etc. So I have no idea what my hair is doing today, so don't mind that, but let's talk about it. I do a lot of intuitive eating versus trying to kind of plan out inch by inch. This is how many grams of carbohydrates, this is how many grams of fat. I try to listen to my body a lot. I eat very cleanly. I eat a lot of whole foods. I don't eat any processed foods, any junk like that. If I am going to eat anything like that, I do it in moderation. I think moderation is the key to happiness, because if you are craving something and you just deny yourself it for super long, then your brain and body are just gonna hang on to that craving, and eventually it either makes you super miserable to have not had that thing, or you end up binging on it and eating like a whole thing. Have you ever really wanted pizza or really wanted ice cream and like held it off for hours and hours or days and days, and then when you finally got it, you ate the whole thing? That's what happens. You kind of fixate on this thing that you're not allowing yourself to have. But if you take what you are craving and you sit down and you have a small amount of it and you cut out all distractions and you just sit there and you enjoy that thing, then it's going to be a lot better for you mentally, and it's just gonna feel nice versus if you were to like sit on the couch and just devour an entire carton of ice cream and you're not gonna feel so great after that, right? So what do I mean by intuitive eating? I mean that it's listening to what I need in that moment. If I'm feeling super low energy before a workout or something, I'll get in a little bit more carbohydrates before that. Or if I'm feeling super sluggish, a little bit on the weaker side, then I get in more proteins and fats. If I had a super hard workout the day before, I also get in a little extra proteins and fats. So it's kind of understanding what each macronutrient and each type of food will do for you and adjusting your diet based on that knowledge. So quick breakdown of what each macronutrient does for you. Carbohydrates are our main source of energy. Glucose is what fuels our cells, our body, everything. And so carbohydrates are what breaks down into that. If you were to eat something with whole grains or some fruit or any oatmeal variations on that, then that gives your body a nice clean energy source to use later on. It's our short chain energy source, something that we can tap into pretty much immediately. And that's what I use to fuel workouts, to give me energy throughout the day. Next is fats. So fats are our second level of energy source. Fats are harder to tap into to synthesize glucose or energy for our bodies, so we don't need as much fat as carbohydrates. We need fat for many reasons, like brain function, general body functions, and so we do need a decent amount of fats, but it's not as abundant. Fat also has the highest number of calories per gram. So you have to be careful with super fatty foods if you are watching your caloric intake. And then we have proteins. Proteins are what helps your muscles heal. They help create enzymes for your body. And if you're familiar with amino acids come from proteins, and those are the building blocks for proteins. So these three macronutrients are what we talk about when we talk about balancing your macros. and they are each going to have an individual purpose, and understanding what that purpose is really going to help you intuitively eat day to day. But what about vitamins and minerals? Vitamins and minerals are things that you are going to get if you are eating a varied and complete diet. When I say complete, I mean you are getting all of the veggies, you are getting in all of the fruits, you are getting in a good balance of your macronutrients. It's really, really hard to be vitamin and mineral deficient if you are eating basically everything that you should be, because you will be getting vitamins A, C, K, vitamin B12, everything from your leafy greens, from your meats. And if you are vegetarian, they do make vegetarian supplements for stuff like vitamin B12, which a lot of vegetarians tend to be deficient in. I was vegetarian on and off vegan for about 12 years, and I never dealt with that deficiency. I didn't have a problem. I think some people are just more susceptible to it than others. Someday I am going to do a follow me around, see what I eat, and meal prep video if anybody is interested in seeing that, but a quick and dirty breakdown of what I eat day to day. I tend to eat 5 to 6 meals per day. The plan I'm on is in response to my workout routine of the day, so I tend to eat anywhere from 2,300 to 3,000 calories depending on what my workout was that day and how much cardio I ended up doing. I am on a little bit of a fat loss diet, but that is more relying on muscle build to create a metabolic burn than it is a calorie deficit. So 2,300 to 3,000 calories sounds like a lot, and there are some days that it is. There are some days that I just fell behind on what I ate, and that makes it super challenging to hit such high numbers later on. But it's worth it. I've been seeing some really, really great results, and I will never complain about being able to eat more food. First breakfast for me tends to be something very carb heavy, something that's going to help me wake up and fuel my morning cardio later on. And I tend to eat oatmeal with raisins and a little bit, like a teaspoon of brown sugar and a ton of cinnamon. I find oatmeal to keep me super, super full. It's also a good source of fiber, and fiber is first of all, it's really, really great to keep your system moving, if you know what I mean, and it helps you feel full for longer. And I just find oatmeal to be a delicious way to get those carbohydrates in. My second breakfast is a little bit smaller. It's post-cardio. It is something that tends to be higher in protein, but with some carbohydrates thrown in. Generally, it will be like a Greek yogurt and a banana, or lately I've been digging on having an egg with some spinach and some salsa with some black beans, and that ends up being a great way to carry me over until lunch or meal 3. A lot of times if somebody's eating a lot of meals, it tends to be numbered versus names. I kind of like having names for them. It makes me feel like I'm a little less of just an eating machine and more like I am a human who is eating food because it is good for them. That's not to knock people who call it meal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but it's just what I personally prefer. Meal lunch tends to be super veggie heavy. I make a lot of my meals very, very veggie heavy. It's something that I really, really enjoy. Vegetables make me feel good. I think they're delicious, and it actually makes it a lot easier to balance my calories meal to meal because vegetables are so low in calorie as long as you're not cooking them in a ton of oil, a ton of butter. And so for lunch, I will tend to eat either a really, really super big salad with a ton of spinach, cucumber, tomatoes, whatever raw veggies I have lying around, and like probably about half a can of tuna, some hummus, and just a little bit of Italian dressing or lemon juice and a little spot of olive oil. Post-lunch is my pre-workout meal. My pre-workout meal tends to be a little bit carb heavy and have a good amount of fats in it. And one of my favorite things that I've been digging on recently is having a burrito bowl pre-workout, because that is a great balance of rice for carbohydrates, a little bit of meat for protein. I'm very big on getting your protein throughout the day versus getting in a huge flood of protein at post-workouts, and a ton of veggies and avocado for some really, really great pre-workout fats. If you are going to go out and get a burrito bowl though, you might only want to eat half of it. They're huge if you go out pretty much anywhere. But then you'll also have something to split to use for the next day, or to even have post-workout, because it is such a good balance of carbs, fats, etc., that post-workout it's actually a pretty good choice too. I tend to choose rice instead of beans pre-workout, so I'll just do rice, meat, lettuce, blah 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 blah, because I find beans to be very, very starchy, very, very filling, so I can't really get in enough carbohydrates pre-workout that way. But if I am doing it post-workout, then I will only get beans and not rice. I think it's a pretty fair trade-off, because they're both pretty heavy in calories, right? So if you are trying to balance your calories, you're going to want to choose one or the other. And I find them to be very, very filling, and one or the other really does get me super full, even about halfway through the burrito bowl. My post-workout meal, heavy on the protein and heavy on the veggies, fairly light on the carbohydrates, because my second workout of the day is very, very lift heavy. It's a lot of muscle work, and getting in a flood of protein, even more than your body can really use, is a great way to make sure that you are getting in that healing power afterwards. You want to make sure you are getting some carbohydrates in post-workout, because your body needs those to replenish your energy stores, and making sure you get in some fats, like, not the highest priority, but still pretty good. So post-workout, I like to get a decent chunk of meat in there, usually like a serving and a half, so like 4.5 ounces versus 3, and then a lot of veggies and just a little bit of carbs. So this is one of the meals that I will generally eat with my boyfriend, and so we will cook like a decent sized steak or some chicken, or even just some like pulled pork or something. You gotta watch the sugar in your barbecue sauce though. And then I'll do like a 1/4 cup or less of rice, so not even really a full serving. And then I fill half of my plate with veggies. A lot of veggies. I am all about it. It gets me really excited. I'm a super big nerd when it comes to vegetables. My last meal of the day is where I play catch up. And so that's when I look back at all the food I tracked throughout the day in my FitnessPal and see what I am missing. And if I am missing a lot of protein, that's when I'll get in. I keep frozen, pre-cooked chicken, and that's when I'll just like microwave that up, get some vegetables in there, and try to just shove it down my face. And if I am missing a full meal, that's when I will make a full meal. So I keep a lot of really easy, healthy, convenient food around. So I will keep frozen chicken that is pre-cooked and ready to go. I get bags from Trader Joe's. I love it. And I will keep like steam bags of vegetables and just some frozen quick cook rice. And quick and dirty, just try to get that in and make up whatever deficit I am in for the day. And if I still have a little extra left over, honestly, I'll do like half a cup of ice cream. Makes me feel really, really nice to just have a treat sometimes. And I don't do this every day. I try not to eat any added sugars or processed foods, but a couple times a week I just want some ice cream, and nobody can really blame me for that. And that's a quick description of what I eat throughout the day. So I hope that you picked up some reasonably good information, or at least enjoyed watching this video. Give it a big thumbs up if you learned something, and leave a comment below if there is anything you want to see me talk about, or if you have any workout requests. I'm going to try later on today to get out a snow day workout, something that you can do at home just with like a chair or some small amount of equipment. No weights, nothing like that, nothing that you need to go out and buy, just something that you'll be able to do quick at home. As always, if you have any requests or anything like that, you can find my contact info in the description box or somewhere around my head. And I hope to see you guys during my next video. Thank you so much for watching.